Alrighty. Hi, I'm Nidus, as you could tell from the channel and the link that you clicked on to the channel. Um, I normally post speedrunning videos. I've since stopped with that. I do random variety shit here and there. And a few months ago, I entered a draft league, a Pokemon draft league. Um, it is a Terra Preview NatDex Gen 9 League. We get 9 to 11 Pokemon with 115 points, and then 5 trades here and there. But we registered as the Desert Resort Hunters Guild. My logo was commissioned by Hawkward right here. Her commissions are open. Please feel free to give her some support. And I figured this is, I think I might have already said this. I figured this is a little different than what I normally do, but I haven't been uploading much lately. So, why not? Let's try something new. This season is almost over, and we're in the final week left, so, like, there isn't much left to watch if you wanted to join the Discord, but nonetheless, the BPL, which is it stands for the Best Pokemon League, which sounds a little egotistical, but honestly, it's full of really cool people, and I think they can honestly like hold that name. They're like genuinely the entire community is full of really really cool people, and it's been an absolute blast hanging out in the Discord. I will link that in the description as well. Um, we're having an off season as soon as this ends. The title of it is Screw My Draft, I think. And basically you pick Pokemon in a snake league in a snake format, the exact same as this with the exact same draft board. Um, and you do it for other people. So I'm not gonna. There's a separate doc for that. I don't have that ready right now. It's whatever. But yeah, let's go over the rules. I already stated 9 to 11 Pokemon, using 115 points. Trades can be made up to week 6. Um, oops. This is pretty standard. Just like determining, like, just like do your matches, right? Every move is legal that a Pokemon has ever had, except for including hidden power. Um, and then we get 0 to 2 Terra Captains. You don't have to declare them while you're drafting. You can declare them after the draft's over. Um, but yeah, I chose that route. I didn't declare what my Terra Captains were until the very end, but I made my picks with which Pokemon I had as my Terra Captains in mind. Um, and these are just the rules. If you've read them already, let's go. Uh, don't don't baton pass positive stat boosts. That's illegal. I don't know if you can actually do that in Showdown, but if you can and you do it, then you're gonna forfeit the match on the spot. Um, you can turn on timer, this, that, the other thing. None of the timer was never on for my matches. Um, there's a couple other clauses, but here's the main thing: is top 8 teams from each division make playoffs. So, like, I'm not going to click on this because this would spoil the entire season. The only tabs I'm going to click on are no, I'm just gonna, I'm not even gonna click on any other tabs. We're keeping it on the rules because that spoils things. Uh, there's a couple of complex bans which aren't super relevant, but there's one thing we can cover later. Um, Flinch items and evasion boosting items are banned. You also can't use Lepa Berry. Uh, and then, yeah, other clauses. this, that, the other thing. The theme for this is chess pieces. So there are 5 divisions, and then there's a knight division, which is like a legacy draft, right? For like important players throughout the league's history. We're on this is the 11th season, as you can see up here, and yeah, it's just like that's not so much based on skill as it is like who's played the best throughout like seasons, who has the most notoriety, this, that, the other thing. I know I keep saying this, that, and the other thing, but there's a lot of complexity to it. I don't really know exactly everything about it. But yeah, this is kind of just like, hey, if a tree hits your house and destroys the whole fucking thing, and then it won't count as a free extension. But yeah. Yeah, that's the gist of the draft. If there are 3 people that that can be promoted to higher divisions, I am in the Bishop division, which is the 4th division, the 2nd lowest. I don't really have that much experience in draft leagues, so it was reasonable for them to put me in here. I've only competed in 1 draft league before, and it was a VGC league back in Sword and Shield, before the final stages of the Something Crown DLC was released. So, yeah. But let's get into what my team is. Here's my week 1 opponent. Just so you know, I will not have any of these Pokemon. This is strictly what I'm playing against for week 1. And as I said, the season is over. Well, it's basically over. There's still finals week, but like, my main point is like these matches have already been determined. The next like however many you're gonna see, right? Oh yeah, I forgot to mention there's 9 weeks, right? And then if I made playoffs, I would go to that, and then there would be 3 more games there: quarterfinal, semifinal, and finals. But regardless, we can talk about my team now, because that's like the main point of this video, right? The premise and then what I drafted. So the first thing I wanted to draft was Terra Mew, but that got sniped about 3 picks before me. And then I was like, well, I would have liked Terra Cartana, but right before Terra Mew got picked up, Terra Cartana got taken. And I was like, well, Terracurum would be cool, but that got taken right before Terra Cartana. Yes, Terracurum is legal. It's, I think it's a wrong decision, but hey. And then I was like, well, I really want to use this. I really wanted to use Zeraora. And since my first 3, 4, 5 choices all got taken, I figure, why not just grab this now? Because I'm not entirely sure what I want for my next pick. And I definitely want Zeraora, because I've never used it before, and I think it would be fun. This thing is ridiculously fast. If we look at the speed tiers for legal Pokemon in this thing, Pheromos is banned, Calyrex Shadow is banned, Mega Alakazam is banned, Deoxys forms besides speed are banned, speed and defense. But everything else here besides Zacian and Mega Mewtwo is legal. Zacian, I don't remember if Zamazenta's banned. I think it is. I'm gonna assume it is. But regardless, like, yeah, there's only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And like 6 or 7 of those are illegal. So it's like the only things faster than are Regieleki, Deoxys Speed, Ninjask, which nobody drafted, Mega Aerodactyl, which I don't think anybody drafted, the Electrodes, and Mega Beedrill, Excelgor, and Sceptile. So I figured it's faster than D-Pull. It has a pretty damn good move pool. Like, check these out. It's got knockoff. It's got good fighting coverage. It's got acrobatics. It's got facade, which most Pokemon have. But I thought this was really cool. Plasma Fist. Normal moves become electric. It works like Ion Deluge. I thought that was cool. It's a mixed attacker, so it's like It can do physical or special things. Um, Obviously, it doesn't have that much firepower, but it's fast, right? Which is what I really really liked. Uh, and Volt Absorb with the ability to change its Terra, because this is my first Terra captain. Um, it seemed really nice, and I didn't want to, because I was 13th pick. I didn't really want to risk it and see if it got taken in those next 6 choices. Um, the one thing I don't like about it having being my Terra captain is it doesn't learn Terra Blast. So I don't have that option. I didn't realize that until after the draft concluded. I just figured every Pokemon gets Terra Blast, but Zeraora does not. So that was something I had to work with throughout the season. And yeah, I thought this was a pretty solid first pick, considering all of my other ideal first picks got taken. And then yeah, I figured I've got one of the fastest Pokemon with the highest BSDs in the draft. I'm pretty content with that as a first pick. And then I had to pick my second Pokemon. Now, my second Pokemon, I had 2 choices in my head. Because I didn't get Great Tusk. I would have liked to have had first round Great Tusk, but it got picked right before Terracurum. So I was like, okay, I want a ground type. I want something with Stealth Rocks. Do I want to go with this Pokemon that has a ton of firepower? Or do I want to go with this Pokemon that has a ton of utility and is faster? So my choices were between Iron Treads and Landorus Incarnate. And I ended up going with Landorus Incarnate. This thing is dummy strong. It's got sheer force to boost its special moves, so it's usually special attacker over a physical attacker. But like, it can do both. It's got a great typing, and it is weak to ice. Hella weak to ice. But this is my other Terra Captain. And yeah. So we got 2 Mons right off the bat that we can change the typing of. But we got firepower, we got speed. We're looking pretty good. This thing's got crazy coverage, crazy setup moves, Swords Dance and Nasty Plot, and Rock Polish. Where's that? So that's pretty cracked. It has Defog too, which is nice. And like, obviously having another pivot move doesn't hurt. More taunt, this, that, the other thing. It doesn't have a flying move, which I was kind of like a little iffy about, but hey, I figure it's got most of what I want and then some. So that was my second pick. And then because I'm the 13th pick, it goes 12, 10, 11, 10, 9, all the way to 1. 1 gets 2 picks, and then it comes back around 2, 3, 4, 5. And I had to wait a really long time for my third pick. I figured, alright, I've got hella speed. I've got hella firepower. I want hella bulk. So I took Toxapex. And I figure that's a pretty good first 3 Pokemon, right? That's pretty good. I think that's solid. This thing has knockoff. I don't. Ugh, there's so many better moves, or so many moves that Toxapex would rather run, that it's like hard to find a use for it. But like, it has knockoff if I need it. It has a couple trapping moves. Well, actually, I think it only has infestation, so like that exists. But trapping isn't really too good in draft unless you like have a specific way to utilize it. But even then, things can go wrong, and it's not super viable. It's a strategy. It's just not a perfect strategy. But like, I mean, Lando can do it too, but I'm running sheer force on this 9 times out of 10. And it's inconsistent, right? Besides Infestation, I think all trapping moves have a 15% chance to miss. And either way, this thing is a wall. It's got Regenerator, so I can recover HP. It is a poisonous piece of shit. And I figured it is more than obnoxious enough for me to utilize. So yeah. Scald, T-Spikes, Grounded Poison type, Recover, Light Screen, no Reflect, Haze for anti-sweeping. Not the best hazer in the world, but I have it, I guess. Just some utility, but more than anything, it's like a bulk. It is the bulk. And throughout the season, I forgot to mention, I made both of these two shiny. And I'm not going to pump any more nicknames in just in case poop comes up. Like spoilers for what I'm going to draft. I think I saw one, maybe two Pokemon that were already in this draft that have gotten spoiled by that. I don't know why their names were in there like that, but hey. That was my third round draft pick. Now, I'm looking kind of weak to ground, right? Zeraora obviously can change its typing, but so can Lando, and Lando no longer being ground would be kind of a problem. So I figure I want something that reduces ground damage. I'm thinking, right, maybe get a grassy terrain user. So my options are between Rillaboom and Tapu Bulu. I ended up going with Tapu Bulu because Rillaboom was a whole extra 5 points, I think. I could be wrong. I think it was either it might have been 4 more points, but it was definitely like higher cost than Tapu Bulu. And I didn't really vibe with that. I wanted to save my points while still having a grassy terrain user. And honestly, I wanted a fairy type too. But I forgot this mon doesn't get moves. So that's kind of my B. It's a nice physical attacker with a shit speed stat. And it doesn't have a physical fairy move. So yeah, it also didn't get Terra Blasts, which is why I was very hesitant to make it a Terra Captain, even though I made Zeraora Terra Captain without it. But like, I like paid attention to this thing's ability to use Terra Blast specifically because I was like, well, it doesn't have anything for coverage in terms of fairy moves. Being able to Terra Fairy, Terra Blast would be nice. Can't even do that. So yeah, this thing is pretty bad. Should I have drafted as my 4th round pick? Probably not. But it does have Roar. It does have Whirlwind. It has some usage. It has no pivoting. It doesn't have knockoff. Like, it's got good grass moves. It hits really hard with grass attacks, and it's a ground resist. It makes my Pokemon weaker to, or take less damage from Earthquake. Forces opponents to run high horsepower to some extent. But it's obviously a risk they can afford to take because grassy terrain doesn't last forever. But yeah, this thing is not a fantastic Pokemon, though I was hoping to make good use of it. Now at this point I'm realizing, shit, I need a steel type. Which, I mean, Tapu Bulu's helping, right? Like with the grassy terrain. So I figure, okay, I want a steel type. I don't really care what the speed tier is, but it has to be able to use Stealth Rocks. Ideally, I would like a steel type that could use Wish. The list of Pokemon that were there that had that option were very, very limited. And I ultimately decided there's only a very small amount of Pokemon that learn both Wish, Stealth Rocks, and have a steel typing with any other semblance of useful moves. And the Pokemon I decided to go with was Jirachi for my 5th round pick. I haven't been pumping in the point values, but Zeraora with Terrestrialization as an option goes from 17 to 18 points because of the Terra attacks. And Landorus goes from 19 points to 23 points, which I thought was a little ridiculous. But I figured, hey, it's got to be good, right? If it's 23 points. Toxapex is 13 points. Tapu Bulu is 11, I believe. And Jirachi is 15. So, yeah, Bulu is 11. Jirachi at 15 points, I figure is a pretty damn good 5th pick. Steel Psychic type resists a lot of what I need to be resisting, except for ground. Doesn't resist dark either, but we can get on that later. This thing has a really good move pool. Psychic Noise is a nice new addition. Has Stealth Rocks, exactly what I wanted. It has Trick and Trick Room, U-Turn and Wish. I figured I'm looking at this thing, somebody's gonna pick this up if I don't. So I figured, hell yeah, let's grab it. Why shouldn't I, right? This thing has so many good moves. It has such a great ability in Serene Grace. And there's really no denying that it does well in my team. Now, the only issue is that it has 100 base speed, and Lando has 101, so it's a little iffy for my speed tiers. But yeah, it's still really solid, even with that notion. But I was a little... It did cause a few problems throughout the season when I was prepping. But that's enough about Jirachi. It's a multifaceted Serene Grace piece of shit that can do a lot of annoying things. And my 6th round pick, I figure I need a ghost type at this point. Need some way to stop rapid spin from happening. What are my options, right? I guess I could go Skeleturge. It completes a Fire, Water, Grass core. And then Skeleturge got taken. And I was like, oh... So I ended up going with not a fire type because the only fire ghost that was available was a little pricey because I only got 115 points, and at this point I have used over half of my points. So I need to start managing them a little better. And I ended up going with Basculegion. So the cool thing about Basculegion is, you remember how it said, like, there were complex bands? Basculegion's name was on that list. I am not allowed to use Last Respects with this thing, which is why it's only 10 points. But I do get both the male and female forms of Basculegion. So I have both a physical attacker and a special attacker, each with the same ability. They have Swift Swim, Adaptability, and Mold Breaker. So at this point, I'm thinking, I want Rain. We'll draft Rain eventually, right? Because points are getting low. I'm looking at everybody's team, and I'm seeing, okay, I don't think anybody's drafting Rain. There's a couple of people that could be drafting Rain, but I don't think anybody's drafting Rain. So long story short, we are going to be grabbing a Rain Pokemon, something with Drizzle. If you can guess what that is, I'm not going to give you props because the list of Pokemon with Drizzle that are legal here are extremely limited. But yeah, I figure this is really strong with adaptability, even if I don't do Rain. Has great coverage. Great coverage with an asterisk mark. The physical form has Head Smash, Psychic Fangs, Crunch, Scale Shot, like a bunch of useful moves. The special one is kind of... Like, if we look at a special move pool, we got Ice Beam / Blizzard, and nothing else. Mud Shot. Like, not ideal. I kind of was thinking along the lines of make this a Terra Captain, because it's the same cost as Landorus. But I was like, I really don't want to keep that ground flying typing every single game. So I decided to just go with that. As for whether or not I regret it, I guess we'll see, right? But after this, I was like, okay, I know I want Rain. What's my next pick, right? I'm running really low on points at this point. So I pick a Mistake, right? I pick Aggron. I figure it has Sturdy, it has Stealth Rocks, it's another rock user, it has Dragon Tail, it has Roar. It's more phasing was my idea at this point. I like the idea of Sturdy in draft. I think that's probably underutilized. It has T-Wave, and it's got a ton of moves, right? But its stats kind of suck. It does have Body Press, so I can make use of that, but its stats kind of suck. It helps with my speed tier, but its stats kind of suck. And its typing is dookie ass water. So overall, once they reviewed our teams, once the mods like reviewed our teams, it kind of came to my attention that Aggron was just simply not it. Nor was my next choice of Cursula. This thing's stats are better. I mean, that's a great special attack stat. I'm sure I could get this in on plenty of special attackers, right? And its coverage is absolutely spectacular, and it has fantastic two abilities. Weak armor is a little worse than... It's not fantastic, but, like, I've used a Cursula in my last draft league I was in, and these were both 3 points, so I was thinking this is pretty good value for a collective 6 points. Oh... I did skip over Pokemon, actually. My bad. I didn't... These weren't the next 2 picks in line, actually. My dumbass forgot I drafted Mega Absol. Oops. No, I don't need it. Import. Nothing. Move here. Yeah, I drafted Mega Absol for my... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th round pick. I figure this thing fills out my speed tiers nice. It is only 6 points, so that was pretty cool. It's frail as shit, but it has Justified, so if I switch it into a knockoff, not only does it not lose its item, it doesn't take the extra damage from knockoff either, and it gets a +1 to attack. So that's pretty solid. As magic bounce if I want to lead it and protect myself from not projectiles, hazards or status moves. It has plenty of utility. It has plenty of coverage. Like, this thing can be physical or special if I need it to be, and it's fast. Like, has pivoting options with baton pass. Like, the only flaw this Pokemon has is that it's about as bulky as a piece of paper. But it's got Will-O-Wisp. Like, this thing had so many options, and I was like, oh my god. If I'm not getting Bisharp, right, I may as well grab this. Because that was what I was thinking between Absol plus Aggron and get Bisharp, right? And that would have been a 9-point pick. But I was like, this has more firepower. It's way faster. I'm just going to grab it and Aggron, and I'll have nice defense to make up for the thing that I'm losing. But it's just... I ended up switching Aggron and Cursula for 2 different Pokemon. Oops. I ended up grabbing Girder and Greedent instead. This gave me a Ghost Resist, and it gave me a Fighting type to resist Dark better, because, quite frankly, my team did not resist Dark for shit. My only resist to Dark was Absol, so I needed another one, and Girder filled that role pretty well for being a 4-point pick. Absol was 6, I don't know if I said that or not. Greedent was a 2-point mon that I grabbed afterwards, because I got rid of Aggron, Cursula, both were 3, that adds up to 6. I needed to make it work. So I made it work. And yeah, at this point I have 13 points left. These trades were made during the season, so I can go on in more detail about that later. But basically, long story short, Greedent was a nice idea in my head because it gives me a knockoff user. Thing has belly drum, good coverage, it's bulky, like it has options, right? And then Girder has defog, it has guts, which is nice because it makes it kind of not immune to status, but it makes it a nice switch in for status. It's got great coverage, it's got knockoff again, no stealth rocks sadly, but hey, it's just something I'm working with. Sadly, my only two stealth rockers are Jirachi and Lando, which I'm not always going to want to be stealth rocking with those two. So we'll see how it goes throughout the season. But yeah, Girder's not a thing like to write home about. It's got good moves for a Pokemon with less than 500 BST. Almost 400 BST. It's a 4-point mon. It can run Eviolite, increase its bulk. Honestly, it's better than you'd think it is just from looking at it. And yeah, Green exists. And I went over this. Cheek Pouch is a nice ability with Belly Drum because you can Citrus Berry up and you're back to almost full HP. I was also thinking about Swords Dance Custap Berry sets. That was an option too in my head, right? But, the next Pokemon I drafted is not my final Pokemon. We're allowed to draft 11 Pokemon total. As of this point in time, I had 9. And I wanted to draft, obviously, my mascot. We had to get Maractus. I love this Pokemon so fucking much. It's so damn happy. It's got a water immunity. It gives me a ground resist, which is really not a ground resist I want to be using consistently. But hey, maybe it's got some niche somewhere. I don't know. I figured it's Maractus. It's a mascot, if anything. It's not like I'm bringing this every game. I just have it because it's 1 point and I wanted to grab it. If I made this a Terra Captain, honestly, I probably would have brought it to a couple more games. Or I probably would have brought it 2 games. But you know what? I love the thing too much to not draft it. And it's my mascot. So, yeah. It's not like this thing's ever going to be huge, but we have it, right? If there's some niche micro matchup, right, then we can bring it, is what I'm thinking. But as I said before, I need rain. I have Basculegion. I want rain. Rain helps. I'm not exactly the most resistant to fire, but I have a fire issue. So we draft Pelipper. Pelipper is a pretty physically bulky water flying type with Drizzle, and it's got good moves. It does have good moves. Tailwind if I ever want to boost my party speed. It's got U-turn for pivoting, Weather Ball for nice water damage, Scald for good water damage and burns, Knock Off if I'm ever feeling frisky, Defog, obviously I can't have enough hazard removal. Just a bunch of water and flying options. Never Missing Hurricane is pretty nice. Setting Swift Swim for Basculegion is pretty nice. And it can reduce the fire damage I take with Tapu Bulu and Jirachi, in addition to the rest of my team. While, yeah, Lando has Weather Ball. Bulu does not have Weather Ball. Increases Basculegion's damage. I probably already said that. I think Absol cannot learn Hydro Pump. That would be bizarre if it could. It doesn't get any water moves, but hey. It's an option, you know. And I'm pretty content with how I drafted it. You know, I'm like kind of content with this team. I had 0 points left over at the end of everything, and yeah, this isn't exactly the most professional video of all time, but hey, this is the team. It looks like we've got 12. We've really only got 11. It's just one Pokemon has 2 forms, so we're not breaking any rules. But yeah, I make a couple trades throughout the season. Like I said, I traded Aggron and Cursula for these two, and I did that in week 1, unfortunately. So for my week 1 opponent, I do not have Girder or Greedent as options. I am running Aggron and Cursula instead. But that's just like the thing for it. So it's like, you keep that in mind, but don't like treat it as gospel. I did see that Cursula matched up really well into Screamtail, but Screamtail also has like knockoff and some shit, or maybe it doesn't. I don't know. It has physical moves. I added Crunch. I didn't really expect physically offensive attacking Screamtail. Regardless, that's a conversation for the next video. This is the team. We got options. It's not the best team in the world, but it's a team. And, yeah. I make a couple more trades throughout the season. I won't spoil what, but if you join the Discord, you'll be able to see that my team is not exactly the same as it is right now. Like I said earlier, that's in the description. And, yeah. Season is 9 weeks long. My week 1 opponent. I will upload the VOD in a couple days. I'm thinking of posting these bi-weekly. So I would do my week 1 and my week 2 this week. And then I would do my week 3 and my week 4 next week. But I'm not 1,000,000% sold on that idea. I could do it weekly. It just feels like it would take a long time. Like it'd be like a lot of weeks. It'd be about 9 weeks, I think. So yeah, 9 weeks is a long time to be uploading this type of content. I mean, some people can do it, but I don't know if I want to, because as you can see, it's like almost June and my classes, or it's almost July and my classes start up again soon. But I'm definitely gonna be trying to post I think bi-weekly is the play, right? Because we have the off season coming up, and I might want to upload that too. So who knows? That's a 6-week thing, by the way. Sign-ups close on Sunday. And what else was I gonna say? Sign-ups close on Sunday. Oh yeah, I totally forgot. Here's my type weakness chart. You have Storm Drain. Yeah. We are pretty weak to flying, as most draft teams are. Pretty weak to fire, but we have rain and a couple backups. And one of those you have to keep in mind is Maractus. Kind of weak to dark. Not super weak to dark, but like ice is a problem. Ground is a problem. And then electric would be a problem if I didn't have Lando and Zeraora. So I think overall my type matchup chart is decent. I just think it looks so like volatile because I have 11 Pokemon and 2 of them are usually not coming to games. I mean, like, one of them usually doesn't come to games, but like, a lot of these are frail or super slow or have their own issues, which is why I make trades throughout the season. But like, I only have 5 trades throughout the whole season, and I've made 2 of them as of week 1. So I get 3 trades left, and yeah. That should cover about everything. I will post my week 1 match in the coming days. And yeah. I hope I have some support behind me here. And I will catch you on a day within this week. Probably Wednesday, but don't quote me on that. I'm going to go play Elden Ring now. Have a good day.